Okay, so hello everybody. So today I'll be, let's not say lecturing you, but I'll be presenting you a question which is at the same time intriguing and interesting. Well, first of all, we have a disclaimer for sure, because I'll be using some paintings which are going to be shared with you all. Okay, so the question is, what makes a masterpiece? We will have a virtual tour to the Da Vinci Museum, then a question analysis, then we're going to answer a few questions, such as what do we mean when we call something a masterpiece, who gets to decide what becomes one, and who makes it, and by it I refer to masterpiece. And lastly, we'll have a conclusion in which we're going to have a sort of recapitulation. So, now that we had a virtual tour, you can scan it to access the virtual museum. Now we're going to analyze the question. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so what makes a masterpiece? Grammatical tenses have always impressed me with their capability to change not only time, but the aspect of action. This sentence, as it appears, is surely a question. Yet, its components are subjective to an abstract matter. Let's not jump to conclusion and analyze this question. It has a splendid morphology. We have an interrogative pronoun, we have the verb to make in the simple present, we have an article, and our interesting word, which is masterpiece, which is grammatically a noun. Anyway, so first I have a question for you all. When do we use the simple present tense? Do you have any idea? When do we use it? Okay, so we tend to use the simple present tense while evoking general truths, facts. That would be the case of an affirmative sentence. But here we have a question with one verb in one tense. Why didn't we, for instance, ask questions like, what made a masterpiece? Or what will make a masterpiece? Or even what's making a masterpiece? The answer is clear and plausible. Each question has a unique answer that leads to different ends. As I always say, it's all about the moment. All right? The question is formulated to question the existence of an abstract principle. The principle is neither virtuous nor sinful, but can in some course be misleading and relatively fatuous at the same time. I believe you are curious to learn about this principle. It is the principle of cause and effect, a principle with which we coexist. It is a matter of time and place. We instinctively choose the right moment to manifest our inner sentiments in order to understand our entourage that sanctifies, in a way, the so-called masterpiece. To conclude, this question has many ends and can be a starting point to many interpretations. So what do we mean when we call something a masterpiece? So according to Cambridge Dictionary, a masterpiece is surely a noun. The definition is a work of art, such as painting, film or book, that is made with great skill. Well, excuse me to say, that a masterpiece can be anything. So art can be anything, and so does a masterpiece. Hence, the question that interrogates the identity of a masterpiece is yet unclear and sits in a vast field of possibilities. Some might see it as a subject of attraction and desire, whilst others would consider it futile to be appreciated. Therefore, a masterpiece's identity depends upon both one's perspective and background. For instance, religions consider the word and its species, including mankind, a masterpiece that symbolizes and embodies God's power and majesty. Who get to decide what becomes one? A wise man has once said, "The smallest feline is a masterpiece." This wise man stands to be Leonardo da Vinci, the prodigy of the Renaissance. His masterpieces, or rather art and science contributions, to humanity have shaped contemporary art and become a reference to researchers. The Mona Lisa, as a concrete example, is an initiation to a series of hypotheses, doubts and questions that seek to understand the reasons behind its nomination as masterpiece, whereas the Mona Lisa, is a normal oil painting of an unknown woman, or let's say lady, from a different era. The question that arises is what makes the Mona Lisa a masterpiece? Does any one of you have, let's say, the question, what makes the Mona Lisa a masterpiece? Oh?
Tell us the response.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us why.
Okay, I'll tell you. Good job. All right, so the answer resides in the paradox that appears in its eyes that lack eyebrows and eyelashes. Look at the portrait. The Mona Lisa doesn't have eyelashes and eyebrows. Anyway, and its famous theft from the Louvre Museum. So the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre Museum in 1911. First, when we look and examine its details, we sense a déjà vu. All right, so we sense a déjà vu. Yeah? Excuse me?
To be honest, I don't think Mona Lisa is a masterpiece, because what does it make it different from other like drawing, painting, or something like that? What's so special about like a person drawing like it's just like flex of his skill, you know? Something that is expressed in something you want to know.
That's true, yeah, in a way. But each one of us has their own answer or their own perspective about the Mona Lisa. Yes?
I think what makes the Mona Lisa as a masterpiece is the singularity. Like it's one of its brand. Like it's the power of how he managed to put the force points in the position of her eyes.
Okay.
I think that there's more art that can be considered as a masterpiece, and it's even better than Mona Lisa in terms of like drawing and something. To be honest with you, I don't think should not even call it an art. It's just like a simple drawing.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that when the Mona Lisa was painted, at that time there weren't some kind of painting like this. Like it was just one of a kind at that time. But like right now, it's obviously not one of a kind.
Yes.
Back then, it was something that is very like when you see it, it's like wow, what is this?
Intriguing. That's true. And also the theft. Does any of you know what happened to the Mona Lisa 2 days ago?
Yes.
Having ruined.
Yeah, in a way, yes. But anyway, what I said personally is that this is my personal opinion. So, for example, when I first look at its details and examine it, I sense a déjà vu. All right? You may feel that you know the lady in the painting. You may hear her whispering, "I know you and you know me." That's what I feel, and probably some of you might feel the same thing. Who knows? Okay. So, the Mona Lisa has gone through many events that are carved in the memory of many generations. However, the mystery that surrounds its theft is unfathomable, starting by authorities' reaction to public support to recover a legendary oil painting from the 14th century. Yet, whenever we question the utility of the Mona Lisa, we found ourselves in the cracks of globalization, which gains its strength from creating the need to visit museums that incarcerate masterpieces. Who makes it? By here I refer to masterpiece again. So, a masterpiece was originally meant to demonstrate skill and competence on the part of its makers. Its root word, master, is a gender term historically describing a man who has people working for him, including sometimes slaves. In its current usage, master as a noun or adjective or verb still involves an exhibition of control or domination. You can earn a Master of Arts, or Sciences, or Quantitative Finance. You can master a given technology, but what does mastery really mean for the artists of today? It's not just about the way you handle a given medium or hew to a set of rules. There are many, or let's say there are other skills that bring great works into being. There's conceptual skill, engaging with the ideas and systems currently shaping our world. There's also the skill of restraint, using less as opposed to more. There are still artists who make astounding and accomplished paintings, but more and more artists work between media, selecting their materials and approaches depending on the particular aims of a project. There are also increasing numbers of artists whose work is collaborative, process-based, and ephemeral. So now we reach the conclusion. So we are constantly redefining what mastery means, and when we evaluate the work we experience today, it's worth considering what standards we're weighing to work against. And here we have the questions such as, what do you want to value in your summation of this work? Does it innovate, but in language you still recognize? Does it push you, either subtly or forcefully, in a new direction? How important to you is a given tradition? How important is novelty? Do you want art that unsettles you or challenges you, or art that confronts or reaffirms? Perhaps you like the flexibility of art to do all those things. You can define mystery without addressing those questions, or without considering who's doing the mastering and what or who is being mastered. Because when we talk about masterpieces, we talk about what we want the future to know about the present. We're advocating for the voices we want to elevate and preserve. On the other hand, it's just a word. It's history making. Its consequences are too great to leave unconsidered. Thank you so much.